This teaching is titled, Birth of Messiah is Not Christmas. This teaching is to increase knowledge of Yahuah and His Word. First, I grew up, and until recently, celebrating Christmas. My wife and I enjoyed the festive nature of the holiday. I have often used the phrase, the reason for the season, referring to December 25th as the birthday of Messiah, or in recognition of Him. I now know that I was making that statement out of ignorance. In fact, a reason for the season is associated with Saturnalia. So more on that in a moment. But that's crazy, but it's facts. Make no mistake about it. I have embraced family time, giving to others, the pageantry of the Christmas season itself, etc. for most of my life. As knowledge has increased, I have come to the realization that Christmas is a pagan celebration not accepted by Yahuah. Why does Yahuah despise Christmas? Because it celebrates the birthday and name of someone who is not Him and who is against Him. The one command where Yahuah has been let down by His people time and time again is, have no other God before me. Exodus 20:3. Christmas, or Saturnalia, is pagan in origin. It has nothing to do with the birth of Messiah. In the past, I would justify this day by saying no one knows the actual birthday of Messiah anyway. It's better to celebrate His birthday than not at all. Problem is, the Bible does not instruct us as believers to celebrate His birthday. So why celebrate Christmas? Some may say because of commercialization and all the money that is spent and earned and how that helps people. The real reason is that Christmas is celebrated out of tradition. And celebrating Christmas out of tradition is problematic. Yahushua Messiyah warned against following the traditions of men because it disrespects Yahuah, our Elohim. Yah's children have been warned against following traditions of men many times, particularly as those traditions replace the word of Yah. Mark 7:13 says, nullifying the word of Elohim through our tradition, which you have handed down, and many such traditions you do. Colossians 2:8. See to it that no one makes a prey of you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the elementary matters of the world, and not according to Messiah. Jeremiah warned long ago. He warned Israel not to follow the traditions or ways of the nations, which includes pagans, Gentiles, and strangers. Strangers are the same as Gentiles. Pagan refers to the worship of deities other than Yahuah Elohim. Nations here refers to anyone not called the nation of Israel or the 12 tribes of Israel. Modern day teaching would have us believe that anyone who is not a Christian is pagan, but pagans were around long before Messiah. Exodus 12:49. There is one Torah for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns among you. Native born are the children of Israel. Strangers were those who were not Israelites. Pretty simple. Jeremiah 10 says, thus said Yahuah, do not learn the way of the nation, and do not be awed by the signs of the heavens, for the nations are awed by them. So in other words, those who are not Israelite, don't learn their ways. Don't be awed by what you see in the sky. Astrology, what comes to mind. So Jeremiah further tells the children of Israel that the ways of the nations are worthless. So let's look at that. Jeremiah 10:3. For the laws of these people are worthless. For one cuts a tree from the forest, work for the hands of a craftsman with a cutting tool. They beautify it with silver and gold. They strengthen it with nails and hammers so that it does not topple. They are like a rounded post. They do not speak. They have to be carried because they do not walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they do no evil, nor is it in them to do any good. In other words, they're inanimate objects. They do neither good nor bad. But isn't it interesting here? Does cutting down a tree and decorating it sound familiar? How about a Christmas tree? But he also says, the laws of these people are worthless. So December 25th and the winter solstice are tied to so many pagan traditions. So let's check a few of these out. So the Scandinavian festival of Yule, as in Yuletide, and the Christmas log cake. East Asia, or an East Asian festival of Dongzi, the arrival of winter. the supposed birth of Mithra and Mithra, sun god and sun goddess. Saturnalia was celebrating the approach of the winter solstice, and it was December 25th in the Julian calendar in honor of Saturnus, the god of seed and sowing. On a side note, check out this interesting carving that was associated with Saturnalia. Does it look familiar? The image of Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, who was the bishop of Myra in modern Turkey. He gave out gifts to the poor and the needy. So on the surface, sounds good, but what does it represent? Gift giving attributed to the Roman festival of Sigillaria, gifting pottery figures and candles as an offering to Saturn. Christmas stockings. Original Christmas carols were pagan seasonal songs. Mistletoe was sacred to the Norse goddess Frigga, the goddess of love. Holly was the symbol of the pagan king of winter. Ivy was the partnership plant of holly, symbolizing death, not life. Decorating trees, as we just read in Jeremiah 10. The 12 days of Christmas originates from numerous pagan festivals. And then finally, the candles were part of the Saturnalia when Romans gave them as offerings to Saturn. So those are all the different pagan activities, the different pagan traditions that are associated with December 25th, the winter solstice. So all of these they all tie together in one form or another to December 25th, which all occurred prior to the birth of Messiah and were in total or in part adopted as traditions for the Christmas celebration. All of these things happened before Messiah's birth, and now they are somehow connected with his birth, which simply means that believers have adopted pagan traditions and they are now associating that with Messiah's birth. So let's look at this further. Not only are these pagan traditions associated with Christmas, so are the birthdays of pagan gods. So in Greece, you have Hermes and Hercules. Nepal, you have Buddha. India, Krishna. Egypt, Horus. Phoenician, Adonis. Rome, Jesus. Persia, Mithras. Babylon, Tammuz. All of these have the same birthday of December 25th. My family and I have traditionally justified a Christmas tree by saying that we don't worship it. However, we would go to great lengths to beautify the tree. So that probably says something about whether or not we're celebrating it or not. What we were doing sounds a lot like Jeremiah 10:4, what we read earlier. Consequently, we no longer stand up and decorate a tree. I am leading my family away from December 25th because it is a pagan day of worship. Instead, we have begun a giving and receiving celebration, not called Christmas, nor is it celebrated on the 25th of December. Charles Spurgeon wrote in his personal message of Christmas, quote, "Those who follow the custom of observing Christmas follow not the Bible, but pagan ceremonies," close quote. The irony of when the so-called birth of Messiah is celebrated is the exact opposite of when Yahusha was actually born. Yes, the Bible leaves clues. To understand when he was actually born, we need to invoke the ancient Hebrew calendar. The ancient Hebrew calendar is not the Jewish calendar. The Jewish calendar is a recent calendar and not ancient. I'm talking about the original and not a substitute or imposter calendar. I'm referring to how time was referenced in the book of Jubilees. I'm not referring to our modern Gregorian calendar based on Egyptian, Roman, and Babylonian influences. There's a really good rendition of the ancient Hebrew calendar created by the Zadok way. It is based on writings found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were found in Qumran. You can find this calendar at zadokway.com/calendar. According to Luke 1:26, Yahushua Messiyah was conceived in the 6th Hebrew month, which is August-September timeframe on the modern Gregorian calendar. Then backing up 3 months means Yahushua Messiyah's birth occurred in May and June, in the May and June timeframe on the Gregorian calendar, not December. If we were instructed to celebrate the birth of Messiah as a festival ritual, it would be during the summer solstice and not the winter solstice. Our enemy Satan has always deceived with opposite. It started in the Garden of Eden. Elohim instructed Adam not to eat of the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden. If they were to eat of it, they would surely die. Satan changed Elohim's command into an opposite by adding the word not, saying that they would surely not die. Does it make sense to celebrate Yahushua Messiah's birthday on the longest, darkest night of the year? Does it make sense? And that longest, darkest night of the year is the winter solstice. Let us not be deceived and come to an understanding of what and who we are celebrating during the Christmas season. So celebrate the season, but do it in a way that doesn't offend Yahuah and Yahushua Messiyah. Do it in a way that honors them. Search your Bible. Do the things that you would do at any other part of the year. That doesn't include pagan traditions that are against Yahuah and his word.